What is up, guys? Happy New Year. Welcome back to Car Thoughts with Sam. So a couple of weeks ago, I had talked and shared a little bit about where I'm currently at with my Hashimoto's, what I'm working through with Dr. Edel, and was honestly a little bit shocked with how many people were interested or wanted to learn more. So first of all, thank you all very much for that support, for the questions. All of it is super amazing. So I thought that I would turn this into a mini series or a little story series and start with more information or like the basics on what Hashimoto's is, what this actually means. Hashimoto's or Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune disorder that often progresses into hypothyroidism. And for context, the thyroid is this little butterfly-shaped gland that sits right in the front of your neck, and it's responsible for cranking out the key hormones that help to regulate your metabolism. They control your body temperature, they influence your heart rate, and they even help keep your brain sharp and your mood steady. When your thyroid is working like it's supposed to, when it's firing on all cylinders, you feel balanced and energized and like a normal person. But when Hashimoto's enters into the picture, it's like this autoimmune system glitch that throws the whole body into systemic chaos. So basically, Hashimoto's means that your immune system mistakenly identifying the thyroid as a threat and will start attacking it. That is going to lead to chronic inflammation and progressive systemic damage. And that assault is going to mess with the gland's main output or main production, which are the hormones T4 and T3. So T4 is like bulk storage. Your thyroid pumps out a ton of it, and it's mostly in an inactive form that is then converted into T3 as T3 is needed in your tissues and your organs. T3 is like the spark plug. It moves into your cells to help crank up energy production, fire up metabolism, keep everything running really smoothly. But when the thyroid is under fire, when the system is under attack, T4 and T3 production tank, which leaves you in hypothyroidism mode, which feels like you are trying to run a marathon on an empty battery through quicksand. And here's where it gets even more fun. Your brain is going to jump in via the pituitary gland, which spits out TSH. TSH being an acronym for thyroid stimulating hormone. And TSH is basically your brain's way of communicating like, hey, T4, T3, we're running really low. I need you to make more. And in Hashimoto's, all of those hormones crash from the damage. So your TSH shoots up through the roof. It's working in overtime, desperately trying to rally the troops and get things moving again. So it's this entire feedback loop that has gone horribly wrong. We've got high TSH, we've got low T4, low T3, and the body is essentially running on empty. And it's because of that this imbalance is why symptoms will feel really like all encompassing. It's not just one thing that's off, it's an entire cascade, which is going to affect your whole system. My own experience with this started back in 2020, and I was actually in the middle of a contest prep. So I'm already super dialed on my nutrition, on my training, and my body just stopped responding. The symptoms were insidious, I guess. They built up so slowly that I had kind of just normalized it as like, oh, I just feel like this because it's contest prep. And it started with horrific fatigue. Like no matter how much I slept, I was exhausted. I was pushing super hard on my diet. I was doing all of the cardio, but it would be like I'd lose 1 pound and then the next week I was back up 2 or 3 pounds. I was cold all of the time, which isn't super weird when you're low body fat, but it was Las Vegas summer. My psoriasis was the worst that it's ever been. My hair was falling off my head in handfuls. And to top it all off, I had brain fog so bad that I was like getting lost on my 4-mile drive home from work. My brain felt like it was just like stuck in molasses. It just wasn't moving. And that's not just random annoyances, that's a direct fallout from the hormone shortages that are disrupting everything from energy production to neurotransmitter balance. Clearly something was very wrong with me. So I did go to a doctor, and the first doctor that I saw told me that I was just experiencing depression and recommended that I get on a SSRI or an antidepressant. So I insisted that that's not the case. Like, I'm not a depressed person. That's not me. So I went to another doctor. and another doctor. 3 doctors told me the same thing and didn't even bother to look at my labs or consider my lifestyle. I was beyond frustrated, and finally I was recommended to a wellness clinic, and they did order comprehensive blood work, which was going to measure my TSH, which came back over 7, T4 and T3, which were pretty non-existent, and then the autoimmune antibodies that did in fact confirm that it was Hashimoto's. It was super cool to have an answer, but the immediate plan or solution that they gave me was corticosteroids like prednisone that was going to help curb the inflammation, and Armour thyroid, which is a natural desiccated thyroid medication that helps to provide replacement T4 and T3 to help normalize the levels in my body. So I definitely passed on the steroids, not knowing as much then, but concerns about long-term side effects. And I did start with the Armour thyroid, even though it didn't seem like a super good idea at the but I thought about it as like a bridge rather than a forever fix. And all of this did kind of propel me to do some research, led me into a rabbit hole of functional medicine research, a whole lot of podcasts, a whole lot of books, some expert consultations, because I just refused to accept a lifetime of just managing symptoms. I wanted to address the root causes. I wanted to aim for feeling better, from making this better and putting it into remission. And it also opened my eyes to the wild world of America's medical industrial complex, which is a whole other video rant and will probably sound like conspiracy theory, but really all you need to do is follow the money. Again, story for another day. Today, my focus is just tackling it holistically and doing it with stress management techniques, sleep prioritization, nutrition, and specific to me supplementation that is adjusted based on my lab work. And I think that's where I'll end it, and we can pick up from there on my next video. But if any of this resonates with you, ask questions, dig deeper, talk to a doctor. Really, early action is what's going to help you to flip the script. So if you want to know more or feel like maybe this might be something that you are experiencing, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, drop a comment. I am a total open book, and I'm literally dedicating my life, my career, my education to being able to help other people no matter what they're going through. But I'll leave it at that for this one. Have a great weekend, guys.